Have you ever wondered what footage lies behind police reports? Blood-curdling discoveries in the trunk, desperate chases ending in crashes, and horrifying collisions where every moment could be the last. This is what police see every day. My name is Knox, and today you will also see what remains off camera. These recordings were made all over the world, but they share one thing in common: unrestrained fear and cold tension. You will feel it on your skin, and before we begin, I warn you, this video is not for the faint of heart. A horrifying revelation. Imagine a typical night shift. Police stop a car for a routine check. But what was supposed to be routine turns into a real nightmare. The driver is a woman, seemingly ordinary, named Julissa Taylor. The officers notice her strange behavior. She nervously glances at the back seat. Her hands are shaking. It seems like something is preventing her from breathing calmly. The officers immediately become suspicious and decide to conduct a search. While one of the officers looks inside the cabin, his partner approaches the trunk. Silence. Only the rustling of clothing and the sound of a lock clicking. And then, as the trunk slowly opens, as if from a nightmare itself, they see something horrifying before them. Blood, a weapon, and the body of her 6-year-old son, lifelessly lying there, with 9 gunshot wounds. This is no ordinary crime. This is cold-blooded murder. And these officers, caught off guard, realize they are facing something incredibly dark and brutal. There are many questions, but no answers yet. What could have driven a mother to do something like this? We can only guess, but for the police officers, it's an incredibly heavy shock. After all, this doesn't happen every day, and this is just the beginning. Next comes a chase for a stolen car. When teenagers decide to steal a car, they don't think about the consequences. But the police officers who chase such offenders every night already know how this can end. This time, it's a stolen Kia, speeding through narrow streets at a pace that takes your breath away. The police understand that the teenagers are desperately trying to escape and decide to catch them at any cost. But just when it seems that this thrilling high-speed chase is about to end, something unexpected happens. The teenager's car starts to smoke, and then it catches fire. They bolt, seeing their only escape route ignite right before their eyes. The police begin the chase on foot. But this isn't just a pursuit, it's a race against fire and time. Young lives are at stake, and every step could be their last. Such moments show that in the world of crime and punishment, nothing is predictable. Everything can change in an instant. But there are times when danger doesn't come from the fire, but from unpredictable people. Sometimes, the police encounter not violent criminals, but individuals who have lost control of themselves. This time, it's a man who has been caught driving under the influence before, but today his behavior is particularly strange. He can barely stand, trying to explain something, but his speech is incomprehensible, as if he's in another world. The police know him and try not only to prevent a tragedy on the road, but also to understand what drives this man to get behind the wheel in such a state time and time again. And each time, they have to ask themselves the same question. What will happen if next time they can't stop him in time? This man is a living example of how sometimes the enemy isn't in weapons or crime, but in the shattered mind of a person who has lost control. So, what could be worse than inadequate behavior? How about the cold-blooded murder of one's own children? The murder of children. There are crimes that are hard to accept even for police officers used to the darkest things. Imagine Chad Dorman, a man, a father of 3 sons. He himself calls the police and reports that his children are dead. The officers couldn't believe what they heard until they arrived at the scene. When they arrived, they saw a scene that no one present would ever forget. 3 boys, lifeless, lying next to each other, and the father, calm, emotionless, with a cold expression on his face. This is not just murder, it's a betrayal of the very concept of family. For the police officers, witnessing such a thing is not only a heavy moral blow, but also a reminder that human cruelty sometimes knows no bounds. Such moments remain in their memory forever, like a dark imprint that cannot be erased. This man surrendered himself. Well, the next situation will show how desperate criminals might try to die to escape punishment. A high-speed chase. Some criminals are trying to escape responsibility. At full speed, the police received a call about suspicious individuals involved in drug trafficking. Two men decided not to surrender without a fight. And when the police were on their tail, they hit the gas, speeding to the limit. They are racing down the highway, breaking every possible rule. Every maneuver they make is a danger to those around them, but the police are already trained for such tactics. To stop the criminals, they use the pit method, a maneuver where the pursued vehicle is tapped from behind, which throws it off balance. And when the opponent's car spins out, they raise their hands and surrender, but that doesn't happen all the time. For example, here's a case that happened not far from that same highway, but later at night. The officers step out with their weapons ready, but these two decide to make a run for it on foot. In moments like these, the tension is at its peak. It's unknown what they have hidden in their pockets or if they're ready to resist. But the professionalism of the police, their cold calculation, and training help prevent another tragedy. The criminals are apprehended, and this is yet another example of how police risk their lives every day to make the streets safer. Yeah, after this, it feels like you've seen it all. And now imagine what it's like to stand in front of a thief who thinks they're invisible, stealing luggage. It's not that hard to get lost among thousands of people in the airport, and that works in favor of thieves. But what if dozens of cameras are watching you? One man decided to test his luck and discreetly took two strangers' suitcases for himself. It all happened quickly. He quietly approached the conveyor belt, looked around, and seeing that there was no security nearby, took the items, but the surveillance cameras capture his every move. The police quickly tracked his movements through the airport and managed to intercept him just before he exited. This case shows that modern technology and security systems have become an integral part of police work. And even if the perpetrator isn't noticed right away, they will still be found and caught. But sometimes, oddities happen right on the streets of the city. Meet the next unusual situation involving clowns. Yes, you heard that right, clowns. It was a strange evening when the police came across two men in bright clown costumes. At first, they might have thought it was some kind of prank, but the men's behavior was clearly suspicious. The men were obviously nervous and answered evasively. And when the police asked why they left their 4-year-old child home alone, they suddenly realized they were in serious trouble. Such cases make you think about how often people lose their sense of responsibility for the sake of fleeting amusement. That night, the clowns realized that their prank had turned into a crime. The police took them into custody, and the child left at home was placed in safe hands. This case is not just a ridiculous story, but a serious warning about what unconscious actions by adults can lead to. And what if a criminal hides right in your house, so well that no one can find him? Searching for a suspect. The hunt for hiding criminals is always a game of hide and seek, but with very high stakes. Pasco County, Florida. Sheriff's deputies receive information that Jason Taylor, known for his crimes, may be hiding in this house. The police search the house, checking every corner, but no one can guess that he is hiding right in the dresser. When they open the drawer, a man appears, curled up in an uncomfortable position, trying to hide from justice. It's amazing what desperate fugitives can come up with. This case is one of the strangest in recent years, showing that there are no barriers for the police when it comes to catching criminals. So, we've already seen how criminals hide and how they escape. But what if an accident happens and there's nowhere to retreat? A chase and an accident. When you're a criminal fleeing in a stolen car, you know that everything is at stake. The police are chasing a man who just stole another Kia. The chase is at high speeds, but soon this wild ride ends tragically. The car crashes into a tree. The man behind the wheel tries to escape even after the accident, but the police are already nearby. During the search, they find a firearm and bags of drugs. This is an example of how sometimes criminals go to extremes, forgetting about caution and the lives of those around them. The police know that in such situations, every second is an opportunity to avoid a new tragedy, and they act quickly to apprehend the criminal and secure the city. And finally, the concluding story. A chase that could have cost a person their life, but ended in an even more horrifying way. Get ready, a dangerous chase. Ryan Brown knew he was in big trouble. Trying to escape from the police, he speeds, and then a real survival race begins. But, as often happens, the fear of punishment leads to even more terrifying consequences. His car crashes into a truck at full speed. Everything slows down, the impact flips the car, and it rolls down the road. Ryan is taken to the hospital in critical condition, but it could have ended even worse. The police later find evidence that proves his involvement in recent crimes. This case once again highlights that fleeing from the law always leads to tragedy, even if it seems like the odds of escape are high. So, today we saw the most dangerous moments of police work, where every step is a fight for survival. From horrifying discoveries to desperate chases, from strange incidents to cold-blooded crimes. Police officers are not just representatives of the law, but also people willing to risk their lives for the safety of society. If you're interested in videos like this, be sure to subscribe. And if you need a job, if you can write scripts, have editing skills, or voiceover experience, you have a chance to join our team. Message our Telegram bot, link in the description. See you next time.